everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. Welcome to my first day of Christmas in July for 2020. I'm so glad you're here and I hope we have a lot of fun making some Christmas crafts together. Last year for 2019 I was able to post a Christmas craft every day for the month of July, but this year I just don't have as much time available to me as I had last year. So I'm going to do as many as I possibly can. I'm hoping to get at least 2 a week done, but I'm not going to say which particular days I'll post on. As soon as I get a craft done, I will put it up there for you. So keep checking back. Make sure you subscribe and check that, or click on that little bell icon next to the subscribe bar, and that will let you know every time I upload a video. And every time you see something you like, please give it a thumbs up or give me a comment about it. Let me know what you're thinking, and that helps me know what you want to see on the channel. Okay, the first craft we're going to make today is this little Believe plaque. This is a Dollar Tree DIY. The lettering, the word, came from those metal words that the Dollar Tree sold last year at Christmas. And when I found them, I stocked up on them. This piece of buffalo check ribbon, this did come from Walmart last year at Christmas, but you can get this burlap at the Dollar Tree. And these are little pine cones from a pick that I got last year. And Greenery is from a Christmas tree, and this is just some red flowers that I found in my stash. Okay, this is painted with white chalk paint, and it is one of those metal serving trays that the Dollar Tree sells. So this is a really inexpensive craft to make, and I think it's just adorable. And you can change it up to be the colors that you want it to be. If you'd rather have red on the edge, paint it red. If you want it to be blue for yours, paint the word blue and paint the edges blue. You know, you can change this up to be personalized for your own purposes. Okay, so let's jump right into our first Christmas in July for 2020. Today I'm going to be making a wall hanger out of one of these metal trays, serving trays from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to give this a couple of coats of chalk paint, and I'm going to do it in white. And you've got to pay attention to all these little wrinkly, ruffly edges up here. This will probably take 2, maybe 3 coats of chalk paint. Take your time. Let it dry in between coats. You do not want to try a second coat of chalk paint until the first coat is completely dry. If you do, well, the couple of times I've accidentally done it before the first coat was dry, I've ended up with the paint peeling up on me, and it just makes a big old mess. So learn from my mistake and don't do that. Let it dry completely. Even if you dry it with like a heat gun or something, give it time to cool before you go to put that second coat on. Otherwise it starts to dry as soon as you put it on, and then it peels up. So heat guns are great, and I love it, and I use it all the time to dry in between coats, but you've got to let, especially when it's metal, let it cool before you attempt that second coat. Otherwise you're just going to end up with a mess. And I can show you one, because I just ended up with a mess a few minutes ago. See how rough that is? It just kind of started peeling up. See that texture on there? I dried the first coat. First coat went on very nicely, and I dried it with my heat gun, and then I went right into the second coat while the pan was still hot. Not a good idea. There's my first coat. I'm going to let it dry completely before I do the second coat. And I'll be back as soon as we're ready for the next step. Okay, after the tray was dry, I went ahead and put a couple of coats of Mod Podge on it, and I'm waiting for that to dry so we can move on. But I want to put a word on this Christmas tray, and the words that are available from the Dollar Tree last year were believe, peace, and joy. Now, this pan is a little bit small, so I'm thinking either joy or peace might be the best. Well, believe will fit on there. Let's do believe. I'm going to paint this red. I got the Waverly chalk paint in lacquer, and it's just a different shade of red. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit richer. So I'm really liking this. So I'm going to go ahead and paint out the word believe using the red lacquer. And it's going to take a couple coats because these words are really smooth and shiny. And then I am going to seal it with Mod Podge after it dries. I find that sealing chalk paint with Mod Podge is a good way to keep things from scratching on metal. It doesn't scratch as much on glass, but on metal it does. So, all right. There's the first coat. And I just like when you paint these words how much they pop off of your project. It's just, they stand out and say hello. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Once it's dry, I'll give it a second coat and then seal it with Mod Podge, and then we'll come back and make it beautiful. All right, let's make this pan pretty. So I went ahead and put 2 coats of Mod Podge on this and 2 coats of Mod Podge over the paint on the word so that it wouldn't scratch. I'm going to move the word out of the way for right now. I took a roll of burlap that I had. I got it on clearance after Christmas at Walmart last year, but they do have this in the store right now, and it's about $6 or $7 for a roll this size. And I just cut off a piece that I needed, and then I trimmed. I didn't have any skinnier, so I trimmed off the extra. I just kind of picked a string and I followed it all the way along. So the first thing we need to do is glue down this burlap. So I'm going to put it across the center, and I'm going to flip my pan over to the back. And you're going to want finger protection for this because the glue goes through burlap really well. So I'm going to put kind of a thick puddle of glue right here because I want to make sure I get good adhesion. I'm going to put my pan down towards the end of my burlap so I don't have too much hanging over. And I'm going to just fold it over and press it into that glue that's on the back. Press it in. As the glue cools, it becomes a little more moldable. If you've got loose strings, get those tucked in before the glue dries. And you can come back and trim this up a little bit later after all of the glue has hardened. Okay, now I'm going to stretch the burlap. I'm going to try to make sure that I have enough slack in it to that it'll touch the bottom of the pan. I don't want it to be too much, too tight. Okay, so I'm going to push that in. I'm going to double check that I have the slack I need. And I do. Okay, so that's the good spot. And then I'm kind of molding it to the shape of the pan. And then because there's so much on this side, I'm going to go ahead and clip it off now. But I'll come back and trim it up nicer in a little bit. Okay, so this didn't get quite enough down here. Okay, so now I've got my burlap glued on. And I need to put some decorative ribbon. Now I can go with the big wide black and white ribbon, or I can go with a skinnier one. I've already painted my word red, so if I hadn't, I could have gone with my red buffalo check, and that would have been really pretty. But I really like how red pops off of this black and white buffalo check. Okay, finger protection back on. I forgot I had one more thing of ribbon to do. All right. I'm going to glue it and try to keep it centered in the burlap. This ribbon I got on clearance at Walmart after Christmas last year. When they get it in, I always buy what I think I'm going to need, and then after Christmas I get whatever they've got, you know. But I always, that way I can avoid paying full price for all of my ribbon. Okay, I'm just making sure I've got enough slack. Kind of crease the ribbon where I need to fold it. Center it in the burlap. And push it down. There's a lot on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it off. Push that all in. Okay, so now I've got my layers of ribbon all ready to go. Now I can, for real, take off my fingers. And look how nice that red word is going to look across there. Here I'm going to give you a tip for how to get a whole bunch of Christmas greenery for super duper cheap. When your thrift store starts putting out their Christmas stuff and they have tons and tons and tons of Christmas trees out, artificial Christmas trees, they're usually really cheap, especially if the lights don't work or if they don't have lights on them. You don't want lights on them for this. I mean, you can use one that has lights, but it's not like you're going to be able to make the lights work. Okay, so just take and cut off your sprigs of greenery off of an old Christmas tree branch. Then you're recycling an old tree that would probably end up in the landfill because nobody wants them if they don't have lights on them. And you're getting a lot of greenery for cheap. Okay, so I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of greenery to fit on here, and you're going to want to kind of fluff them up a little bit, turn them and see which way looks the best, you know, and they're going to shed everywhere. It's just part of the whole thing. And I'm going to just go ahead and let these wrap onto the side of the pan just a little bit. And then I've got some of this red stuff. I don't even know what it is. Came from Michael's in one of my grab bags. It's a summer flower. It just says bush on it. It was in one of those Michael's grab bag clearance things. So just cut off a couple of sprigs of that. And I'm going to tuck those in. I don't want too much red because of the fact that I don't want it to clash with this red. Okay, I don't like this grassy thing on there, so I'm just going to pull that part off. But I do like this little red flower thing. I think that looks nice. Okay. So there's that. And then can't have a Christmas thing without some pine cones. Now, when I make these pans, I don't like to put a bow on them. I think the bow kind of just makes them look awkward. So I'm going to put a little glue along my edge here, and I'm going to glue down my greenery. Put your finger protectors back on if you need to. Just going to hold it down until it sticks. I haven't glued down my word yet, so that's okay. The word is the last thing to get glued down because it's easier to control where the word goes than to control where some of the floral needs to go. I'm just keeping it there as kind of a reference point of how much space I need for the word. Okay. Then my little cluster of red flowers. And the fact that these are a couple of different colors of red helps to blend in that red, because this red doesn't really go, but it's in here with this, and this is almost the same color. So a lot of people don't like mixing shades of the same color, but I don't have a problem with it. Some people also don't like mixing metals. I don't mind mixing silver and gold. I think that works. Alright, so I'm going to glue 3 pine cones in here. I always like to take the rule of odd numbers. I think odd numbers make things look a little nicer. I am using Gorilla Glue for this. Pine cones are a natural product, so they're going to expand and contract with moisture and temperature and humidity and all that. And I just find that Gorilla Glue will do a better job of holding that. If I were trying to glue this directly to the metal, I would not be using hot glue. I would be using E6000 with a combination of hot glue, because hot glue straight to metal does not always hold. But the fact that I'm gluing this to the ribbon and I've really gunked it up on the back, I think will be okay. Alright, so far that's what we've got. Okay, now we got to glue down the word. And I think I'm just going to let it go across the bottom like that. And I am going to put a couple of spots of E6000 on here. So I just got 3 spots of glue, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue on here. Keeping it far enough away from the E6000 so that it won't mix. Okay. Then we're going to push this down. Try to wipe off any excess. And then I'm going to try to strategically put some glue down under where the letters are. And the reason is it bleeds through this ribbon, so you don't want it to show, but you want it to be secure. Okay. See, that one's coming right there at the cross of the B, and that is okay. That's what we've got. And now it needs a hanger, or you can put it in a stand, either way. I'm just going to put a little loop in the back. And I'm going to keep it so that it stays hidden. I'm going to put a little hot glue down, press it in. And then I'm going to put hot glue back and forth over the top of the jute. And then I'm also going to put some E6000 down, because this is metal to metal, and or right onto the metal, and so I don't want that hanger to come off. So I put a little glob of E6000 and I'm pushing my rope down in it, and then I'm going to put another line of E6000 over the top of the twine and connect it to the blob that was on the bottom. These little ends want to stay up for some reason, so I'm just going to tape them down a little bit until it's dry.
There you have it, my Dollar Tree DIY Christmas tray. I hope you've enjoyed this project. Let me know what you're thinking about it in the comment section below, and give it a thumbs up if it's something that you like. Let me know if you might be trying to make one of these for yourself for Christmas. You can also make it on any of the metal pans that the Dollar Tree has. They have some in different shapes. Give them a try. All right. Thanks for stopping by for my first day of Christmas in July for 2020, and I hope that you will check in and see what the next video will be. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.